So now we're on the tarmac railway, the old railway. If carry on behind me, go up to Threkland, and we're heading back towards Keswick. I think it's probably time for coffee, and then we'll regroup and think through my course for Castlerigg, and hopefully make our way there in good time. There is a sense of today particularly, and as I say, just seeing those birds flying around, the reminder that God is a good God. And he says we don't need to worry about anything. Consider the lilies of the field. Consider the birds of the air. They don't worry about how they're going to clothe themselves or how they're going to feed themselves. And I was then thinking about Solomon, who we were looking at yesterday. Solomon, one of the greatest kings, one of the wisest kings. And it says, you know, they're not dressed as fine as Solomon. And how much more does God care for you and I? And you look at this creation around us, the weather changing, the landscape changing, flowers in bloom. I was up here in February, completely different landscape. And that reminder that God is the God who is orchestrating it all. His hand is on all things. He's sovereign over all things, over every circumstance. And as I was saying, my reflections yesterday were very much one of coming back and asking God for wisdom. There's the wisdom. There's the wisdom to know that He is God, that He is in control, that He is sovereign, that He is the one who made the stars and forms the clouds and can call out to a mountain to fall into the sea. He's the God who has shaped all of this by His hand, and yet it tells us that we don't need to worry about a single thing. That's really reassuring. I was just thinking about this river as well, and just how it's a constant flow. And just that reminder again of our God, the God who creates every drop of water that flows in this, is abundant in his provision, in his care, in his love, in his grace. It's like an ever-flowing mighty river. You know, I woke up in the night with a bit of a weird dream and spent some time praying and was reflecting on a conversation that I'd had with a friend over messaging on Instagram, and just kind of reflecting on some of the decisions I've made and times where I've been a bit unwise, I suppose. And my friend was reminding me, you know, or she was telling me that her and her husband remind one another regularly that, you know, that, and they have to tell their own kids as well that, you know, we're sinners, we've all fallen short of the glory of God. But as I was praying in the middle of the night and just working that through, some of the things, some of the unwise decisions that I've made, you know, as you ask for wisdom, God often will show you the times you've been unwise so that you know how to put it right next time. And some of that is just, again, what I've been talking about today, relying on God and resting in the assurance of his love and his grace. And I guess that was the big thing that hit me in the middle of the night as I was just working this through, that there's, you know, Jesus says all the time, my grace is sufficient for you. It's sufficient for you, Andy, and it's sufficient for anyone who may be watching this today. I really want you to know that, you know, his grace is sufficient for you. Sometimes I forget where I was before I was a Christian. It's not in a good place. And sometimes we've just got to come, like, you know, beside the river of God's love and grace and allow it just to wash over us and remind us afresh of his great love for us, that there's nothing we can do to separate us from his love. But also in that moment, it's recognising that when we've been unwise, that we then apply the wisdom that he's shown us. That when we have fallen short, that we come in repentance and say sorry to God and then seek to take on what he's given us so that we can journey on forward with him in the right path. And today it feels a bit like that, really. Although I've just been kind of wandering, rambling along, not really with a kind of clear path today. It feels like I've been on the right path, and God's shown me some really wonderful things and helped me to reflect, and met some lovely people along the way who've helped a little bit with that. And now we're heading back into Keswick, and the cloud is lifting, the rain is disappearing, and it should be a good afternoon.